Hi guys, today we're doing Ride Out by George the Poet. The only way he can overcome the hopelessness that claimed everyone around him is by embracing the likelihoods of death and incarceration. Only then can he be the architect of his own destiny. So he hurtles mindlessly towards his mid-20s, energized by the prospect of autonomy in a world of constrictions. Maybe if he wasn't so preoccupied with survival, he'd be in search of purpose. But that's like trying to build on water. He's better off riding the wave. This was written in a collection called Search Party, in which George the Poet said, we're all out here looking for something, we're looking for purpose. But how is black youth going to find the time to find a purpose in life if they're so busy just trying to survive the day-to-day struggle, the constrictions, the death, the incarceration that George the Poet talks about? We'll get onto that. Three things to note, I think, is the use of the third person. This means that the narrator is referring to himself with he instead of I. So instead of the only way I can overcome, the only way he can overcome. Why does he do that, you might ask? The second thing is this idea of autonomy, meaning control over yourself and freedom from external control by other people. So incarceration is an example of being controlled by another. Autonomy is shown in a metaphor of building, so being the architect of your own destiny. It's similar to being the master of your fate in a poem called Invictus by William Ernest Henley, which was one of Nelson Mandela's favorite poem when he was incarcerated as well for 27 years. But I think the problems that George the Poet is talking about are different to the ones that William Ernest Henley are talking about. George the Poet is talking about more racially specific problems of death and incarceration of black youth. So you might look at the fact that black people are 4 times more likely to die of coronavirus than white people. I think there is a kind of wordplay on constrictions and constructions that you get there. And this hopelessness is because you can't build solid out of water. I do think that the poem ends on a slightly more hopeful note, though. In the beginning, riding the wave seemed to be a euphemism, a good way of putting something bad. And the bad thing is embracing the likelihoods of death and incarceration. So just being forced to accept all that death around you. By the end, I think the meaning of riding the wave has changed to become harnessing the power of the wave for change. So simply by riding the wave, simply by surviving, living day to day, black youth is making a statement against death and incarceration. The ride out itself builds foam. It builds a slipstream. That's the slipstream. It's the kind of spray that you get from the surfboard, from the back of a boat, or whatever you're using. So it's a new kind of building. And the narrator, I think, has found purpose in surviving the struggle itself. Thank you for watching, guys.